Packy, good to see you, my friend.
Good to see you again. How are you?
I'm great. How's things for you?
Things are going well. No complaints over here.
I wanted to catch up with you because we had a great conversation last time, and it was 3 months ago, and 3 months in crypto is like 17 years. So before we kind of dig into some things, and I really want to get people's up to speed with your kind of framework. How are you thinking about all of this? And what I love about you is you're very much the interaction between Web 3.0, crypto, Metaverse, and all of these things. So give us your big picture view on all of this as it stands today, because it probably changes in 3 weeks' time.
I was going to say, having a framework at this point is really tough. I'd say my meta framework for approaching a lot of this stuff is really thinking about, like, there are laws of business physics that things I don't think can defy. And so a lot of the times when I'm looking at Web3, when I'm looking at crypto, when I'm looking at the metaverse, what I'm really, really trying to do is not get too excited or caught up in the hype and think about, what do these different things allow you to do, or what's the historical comp for something? So, tokens might be really, really good at producing network effects and increasing retention. And if they do that, then maybe the projects that use them well have a better chance of succeeding than maybe a Web 2.0 alternative might. The other week, I wrote a piece called The Interface Phase, and it was really kind of explaining and exploring, and I don't even know if I explained, it was more exploring kind of why we're moving towards this intersection, I think, of crypto and the metaverse, and really kind of the idea being that kind of in the history of the internet, there have been these different phases where one kind of internet 1.0, web 1.0 came about when Netscape was released and introduced kind of the graphical interface. Web 2.0 was really kind of the child of an interactive interface where people could in real time interact and influence things. So you had Dig, the Facebook, like all of that. Web 3.0 still feels like it's using kind of Web 2 interfaces right now, and people are trying to skeuomorphically kind of move Web 2 concepts over to Web 3. And I really think that you need maybe something, I think, one, that's kind of wallet based and based on kind of the assets that you have and the inventory that you hold. And then two, something that's a little bit more real world like almost, because I think one of the interesting things that crypto does is make digital items behave a little bit more similarly to physical items, just like Bitcoin or maybe Ethereum is like exchanging cash, in that I have a Bitcoin that I can then give to you. We don't need to go through anybody to make that happen. Just like NFTs make digital assets kind of ownable and unique and tradable and transferable. I think there needs to be kind of an interface that captures all of that and makes it a little bit more clear to people what the unique aspects of Web3 are. And so that's kind of how I'm thinking through things now. Where is this all heading? And then how's that grounded in kind of history and business laws?
And that's interface. That's a tough thing to crack, right? Because we don't really know, and everyone's trying different things. How are you thinking we need that interface to be or to feel or whatever? I mean, we can't pinpoint it, but how are you thinking it through?
Yeah. So I mean, and I wrote this in the piece, like, I am not a designer. I'm not a builder. I get to sit here and pontificate and be like, wouldn't it be nice if we could, not thinking about kind of all of the things that need to happen for us to get there, right? Like Matthew Ball has written about
I'm a big fan of the hand wavy thing as well, we're just going there. We'll be in the metaverse in 3 years.
Exactly. And Matthew Ball has written, a bunch of great pieces on the metaverse and all of the disparate things that are going to need to come together for the metaverse to exist. To me, I don't know, one of the unlocks that I had recently was there's this company called Cyber, and they have kind of digital NFT galleries that feel metaversey. You can either view them on your computer or throw on a VR headset and like actually kind of walk through the space. You can check it out at oncyber.io, and they have a bunch of really cool galleries that some of the top NFT collectors have put together. And it just felt so much better than going to my, MetaMask wallet on my phone and seeing these 2D static images of these digital assets. When you're walking through a space, it feels more like these are assets that you own and that can be displayed and all of those types of things. And so I think the more you can do that with a bunch of different pieces of crypto, the better. If NFTs grant access to certain events in the metaverse and in these 3D spaces. Like, all of that, I think, will make it feel more cohesive than maybe it does today, where it feels like, oh my God, there's just a million projects going on at any given time. I don't know how to keep up with all of it. If you kind of constrain it to like a world, maybe that actually is a constraint that we need for things to seem less wild than they do right now, maybe.
Yeah, I've been thinking this through as well. I mean, we just built out a Real Vision headquarters in Crypto Voxels, and just for the fun of it, just to get started, right? And the experience is, I mean, it's not bad, but it's pretty awful compared to where gaming is, right?
Yeah.
But one thing was absolutely clear to me is, I mean, I love how Crypto Voxels basically give you a GPS coordinate and put you straight there, and you pick up an avatar. It kind of thinks, okay, this is the end of websites in the way that we think of them. And we can also therefore then create platforms here as well. So you can build Packy World and I can build Raoul World, and we can have our own unique experiences of how we want our worlds organized. And that moves away from the reliance on one particular platform.
Yes. And I think the other really interesting thing, like you talked about getting your GPS coordinate and being able to drop there. Right now, still, I think a lot of the worlds and games and everything are also fairly skeuomorphic to the physical world. And that might just be a constraint that humans have to accept. Like, the physical world is a very strong reference point that we're all used to. And so maybe bending that too much breaks. But yeah, you have teleportation now. I can just click and go to Raoul World, and it feels, more similar to kind of the real world, but it's as smooth to transfer around as a website might be. So I think there's going to be a lot of fun things that way more talented people than myself will figure out over the next couple of years that really take advantage of the fact that, the laws of the physical world don't apply, but there are some reference points that are worth referring to.
Yeah, and I'm still thinking through the, purchasing of property. People are purchasing properties around other people.
Yes.
Because that's how we think about the physical world. But I'm not sure we're in a position where we're going to be walking through these virtual worlds, discovering stuff.
Seems like a waste of time.
Kind of does, doesn't it? I mean, I think everyone's anchored on like Snow Crash or Ready Player One and thinks that people are going to be walking around this world. It'll probably get there, but I can't see the metaverse being one world.
Well, could you imagine? I mean, like, some of the things that are not great about the physical world are travel, right? Like going to the airport, getting on an airplane, sitting in traffic, like all of that kind of stuff. If you can just eliminate that, it gives you a lot more time back to do productive things or to have fun or to spend time with your friends or all of those types of things. I can't imagine that the commute is going to be something that we replicate in a digital space.
So looking at the landscape today, what's obsessing you right now that you're trying to think about, tease apart? What's going on that's really interesting to you?
So that's been a big one. Even the land question, I think, is such an interesting one. The land ownership one. That company, Cyber, they're not selling land. They're selling different spaces in a marketplace where architects are designing spaces, but their belief is like yours. This is an infinite amount of space that you have, essentially. So why are you selling parcels of land when you can just click and go wherever you want? So that's one, is how the rules kind of change there. Another one is, projects that are starting to look more like, not just crypto things. So I was an investor in a company called Brain Trust that recently listed its token on Coinbase, and they're a talent marketplace, and they look a lot like a normal talent marketplace that you'd experience on Web 2, but they've introduced tokenomics to incentivize referrals and to let people who are looking for jobs make their applications stand out, or companies that have jobs that they're trying to fill throw tokens in to incentivize people to apply for those jobs. And so I love this idea of companies that maybe would have existed previously adding tokenomics into the mix to kind of enhance different areas where people struggle right now. So that's been one of those. There haven't been a ton that I've seen that are doing that well yet, but I would imagine more and more and more that's something that we're going to see. I'm talking to a bunch of different companies, either in my portfolio or that I'm talking about, that started on Web 2, but are thinking about how to apply tokens or DAO structures or all sorts of things to what they're doing. So that interaction, I think, is going to be really interesting.
Yeah, and I've been thinking that one through as well. I just think it's a global change of business model coming. I think everybody's going to tokenize because network effects and behavioral economics and all of the things. It's just a better way of doing it.
I think so. And I think companies will have to be smart about it, and you'll tokenize some pieces. Like Facebook overnight is not going to turn into a Facebook coin as opposed to Facebook shares. But there are certainly areas where, if you're issuing rewards points right now, there's a pretty good chance that those rewards points are just going to turn into social tokens, and they'll be a little bit fungible. So you're not just locked into the ecosystem. And obviously that's going to make businesses need to rethink how those things work. The beautiful thing, if you're an airline, is that you can inflate or deflate or do whatever you want with your miles at any given time, and people have to spend them by coming back. So it changes the rules completely. It's not just a wholesale replace thing X with token Y and you're good to go. But I think that we're going to get to a point where companies are going to have to play ball and really do the hard work of thinking about what that looks like for them.
Hey, if you like this clip, be sure to like and subscribe for more crypto-related content. Also, be sure to check out the full interview and more only on realvision.com/crypto.